Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Kunai Doritos, or Chase, whichever you may fancy. Today we're going to be talking about the Stone class. Now, if you're not familiar with this class, this is the class, if you played the game, that slams down on the ground and sends a shock. Only works on ground. Alright, then you have a bolt. I'm going to share with you the different tricks and tips that I've learned over the course of playing Stone, because Stone is probably my favorite. It is an easier one to play with. I guess that's probably why I like to play it. We're going to talk about the different skill levels, what they mean, what they do. I'll show them to you different elements that combine with Stone. We're going to talk about different battle scenes, probably something like that. Different things you want to try to do when you're in battle and playing a Stone, and how to play Stone effectively. Alright guys, so let's get into it. We're going to start with skill levels. So starting with skill levels, Stone Skin. What it's going to do is give you plus 20 max armor. So when you spawn in, even if you don't have a belt, you're going to have the ability to give yourself 20 armor. So, and you're going to do that by casting your shockwave onto the ground. And so when you do that, you're going to get 5. And you do it again, you're going to get 5 more. You're going to 10, then 15, then 20. You can only do that up to the first 20. Meaning that if I'm in a battle and I had 100, let's say, and I go all the way down to 0, I can use that while slamming to give myself 5 more armor. And that's only going to happen until 20. Now, if I have 40 armor out of 100, and I start slamming the ground, it's not going to do for 20 more, it's only going to cover that first 20 of it. But yes, that's going to cover the first one, Stone Skin. So your second level ability is called Bedrock. On cast Shockwave, crash to the ground. So basically, this is going to be your second tier, and what's going to happen is when you get this, and you jump up in the air, you levitate, and you activate your shockwave ability, instead of slowly kind of falling like everybody else would, you're going to hastily move to the ground and smack it a lot quicker. This is going to help with timing. This is going to help with getting shots off faster. So you can definitely play that to your advantage, but you need to be aware of it. Alright, skill level 3, Accretion. I believe that's how you say that. Boulder fall size grows as it flies. Essentially what that's going to do is when you activate your sorcery, when you throw your boulder, over time, the longer it's been thrown, it's going to grow and get bigger, so it's going to affect a larger area. So that's pretty effective. Alright, number 4, we have Avalanche. This is going to give you 2 boulder fall charges. So now what we're going to talk about is how the different elements affect your Stone Gauntlet. So we're going to start with the Wind Gauntlet, because I think it's probably one of the more interesting ones. If you throw your boulder without any sorts of force of movement from your wind shears, it's going to go a certain amount of distance. But if you throw a boulder and then hit it with a bunch of wind shears, then it's going to increase the distance. Now this is going to work the same way if someone's throwing a boulder at you. You can redirect it. You can throw down a tornado with your Wind Gauntlet and then throw a boulder into it, and that will redirect it. I suggest not using a tornado to get rid of a boulder that's coming at you. I suggest just using the regular wind shears, as it's kind of hard to get it to work. But next what we're going to do is we're going to trade out the wind, and we're going to grab a Fire Gauntlet. Now fire is probably one of the more effective ones, probably is the most effective, because with the Flame Gauntlet you can make these fires, these little campfires that spawn there, and you can run your shockwave through it just like that. And so this will carry on, as you can see that I'm doing. This will hit your target for however much your normal shockwave would do, and then it will add a burn effect to them, doing I think 6 extra damage with the legendary fire. I don't know if that varies in between the different gauntlets, but yeah. So here you can make a wall of fire and do the same exact thing. It works just the same way, but that's a pretty good technique for crowd control if they're walking around. If you throw your boulder and hit it with a fire blast, it's going to set the boulder ablaze. Now that didn't really work there because I think it hit the tree. But if you do that, it's going to spawn a much larger campfire, dealing more, doing a bigger area of effect. In which then you can throw your shockwaves through that. So fire and stone, I would highly recommend. They work really well together. Alright, so the next gauntlet we're going to talk about is ice. Ice does an interesting thing. Ice is pretty interesting. If you shoot a trail of ice, you can break it up with stone, but be warned that it is going to create a freezing effect when the ice breaks. So I recommend rather doing it to cut someone off and getting out of the way quickly, or yeah, I mean, I would just cut somebody off perpendicularly. I wouldn't sit there going behind them and do it. You can do it if you just get out of the way, but that mist will appear and it will freeze you for a little bit. So you can throw your boulder, and if you hit it with the ice gauntlet, it's going to turn it into a iceberg or a glacier. And it's going to give a large area of effect of freeze. Anyone caught on that's probably going to get frozen. So yeah, that's pretty good. It will also work with the with your sorcery for your ice. So now we're going to talk about using the toxic gauntlet. And so toxic and stone don't really go together too well. You can throw your acid onto the boulder. It's not going to do too much that I'm aware of. Your stone isn't going to do anything when it goes through a gas cloud. Nothing really too special there. Yeah, they don't really work well together. We're going to talk about lightning. Lightning also doesn't do too much. You can hit it with your boulder, or you can hit the boulder with your lightning, and it's not going to really do anything. The lightning strike that you get as your sorcery also isn't going to do much. Your shockwave ability, the same. It's not going to be affected by lightning at all. Alright, so now we're going to look at a little battle simulation. This wasn't the best example, but I'm trying to show you what I wouldn't do. So this one, the circle was getting pretty close, so I didn't really have a whole lot of option on this one. But you can see through how many hills, like my shockwaves will go up them, but I can't really see where I'm hitting. And not every single one of them are going to go up. So I don't know if you saw there before, one stopped at the edge of a cliff because it was too sharp. And it's also a bad position because I have a whole line of higher ground behind me. And that's something you don't really want to play as stone. Because if you notice, your shockwaves have a harder time going uphill than they do downhill. So playing ground is definitely something that's very important to stone. So I managed to get away from these three people just absolutely blasting me. And I ran away to heal. And so this almost caught me. But because this surface was a lot flatter, and it was very narrow, that guy literally got destroyed because he picked the wrong place to challenge me at. So I healed back because I start to go back because I realized that I actually like this place because it's pretty narrow and condensed. And so I noticed this guy and I start pelting through, and if you notice I'm hitting him, I don't get any more shots off because he gets out of the way. And now this is where I made a mistake. I didn't look at my back because I was trying to get that guy. Keeping narrow entries is definitely like the little ravines that you can see that you can go into. Those are great. Sometimes they're a little uneven, so you have to be careful with that. But someplace like that where they just can't, if they have to come through that, then they're just done for. Unless they can use Featherfall to get out of there, I mean, there's not much they can do. They're just going to get hit by your shockwaves. So that makes that a very good place, and that's why that guy got absolutely destroyed. But yeah, so I wanted to show you a little bit of both. One clip that showed somewhere that's not a good place to be. That also can include the different cities, buildings. Stone does not do well in buildings. But as well as kind of an open narrow area that you will just obliterate people, even if they get a lot of hits on you, and you weren't even at. I didn't have that much health or shield, and he could have just wiped me out. But I turned around and I was able to flip the situation because I had the field position that I needed. But alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this helpful, drop a comment, tell me what you think. If you have any questions, just let me know and I will try to answer it to the best of my knowledge. And if you found this video helpful, drop a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.